Our mics were off. We have to do the intro again. Joe and Mike here from buildassetsonline.com. In today's episode, sorry about the mic, we are going to be talking about our self-help gurus. Do self-help gurus help you or hurt you when it comes to drop shipping success? Now,
it's never easy, Joe.
It's never easy. And I'm going to use the same line I said before because I liked it. I said that some people totally hate self-help gurus like Tony Robbins and stuff like that. Other people will lap up their advice like a thirsty dog, like they just can't stop drinking it. They're like pounding their chest, rah, rah, rah. We need more energy. So, Mike, was this a bad topic? Should I have picked this topic?
I think this was a good topic, Joe, and I think it's a bit relevant to our absence. Because this is, I think, over the last 1 or 2 months, we have not been live as much. We have not been aligning with our higher purpose. And what's the reason for that, Joe?
Well, I disagree. I think we were aligning with our higher purpose, but we were doing things behind the scenes, which I think is important because it is aligning with our higher purpose. And the things we were doing for Build Assets Online were very tedious things. And that's why don't we talk about this as the first segue into the topic? Is that when you start drinking the juice of a self-help guru, if you go to a Tony Robbins seminar, and I haven't been to one, but if you go to one, you are going to probably leave that seminar with a ton of energy. You're going to be fired up, ready to go, ready to smash your business. But about a week later, 2 weeks later, you're going to start thinking, oh man, like I got to do this thing. I got to do this thing now. It's going to become very, very annoying very, very quickly. And please let us know in the chat if the sound is good now. I think it's good now. I see it on our end. Yeah, that's your fault, Stygian. You had your volume down. All right. So what do you think about that, Mike?
Well, what do you mean? What do you mean annoying, Joe?
Well, when you're doing a tedious,
it'll be annoying. You're saying the tasks of business will be annoying.
Yes. When you get into the weeds of doing all the tedious things you have to do, you may have been fired up about the end result, but when you get into achieving the end result, there's a lot of tedious things that have to happen. By the way, can you move your mic a little closer? Is that possible?
Let me see what I can do. But how's this?
Better. A little better.
How are we doing now?
Good. Just try and talk close to it.
All right. Got my little monkey over here. Now my train of thought is lost. Well, yeah, okay. So this is very similar to why people are not successful with online courses, and then they say, oh, this person is a scammer, this person's this person's that. And so, of course, everything's going to a spectrum, right? You have some people that make online courses that are probably giving out bad information. You have like $27 courses on the Warrior Forum that are just going to be, it's just not enough gaps are filled in for you to be successful if you're new. But on the other hand, the difference is when you're buying the course or you're going to the event, you're doing this thing that's like it's like an intake that actually releases dopamine, it releases serotonin. You get excited, you get these visceral feelings, and the problem is once you are in that state, you're actually very susceptible to buying. And so obviously Tony Robbins is like a master of business. So he's going to get you to sign up for that next event. He's going to get you into his masterminds, whatever he's going to do. Because you're in a heightened state, you're very, you're having a good experience. There's nothing wrong with that. But similarly to when you buy a course, you feel good. You feel like this is it. Money back guarantee. You hit the button, and then now you're watching the modules, and all of a sudden they say, yeah, now you have to start doing this. And that dopamine goes away. And now you have to start not just taking in, but putting out. And that can be a grind. And so while there's nothing wrong with anything that we just described, if you don't have your mind framed in a way to help you overcome that grind, because not a lot of it is fun, not a lot of it releases dopamine while you're doing it, but there is possibly a dopamine hit at the end of the tunnel once you go through all that hardship and stuff that seems annoying and all the tediousness to get to the end result.
Yeah. And one thing that I want to talk about is that, well, when it comes to like stuff you can glean from self help gurus, like I feel like with Tony Robbins, like I learned a lot from him. I think in terms of how to, well, I don't know if I learned that much from him, but there are certain concepts that you definitely need to take away if you want to be successful, like just having your mind in the right place, priming your mind to be in the right place to get where you want to be. But I feel like self help has its limits. Like once you know what to do, there isn't much you can do after that. Like there's no point. Like I feel like you can just like there's no point going to an event. Like it's just going to be the same information, maybe put in a different way. But like
Yeah, because you have the people that are like junkies, right? They go to
yeah.
every event, they do all the things, all the challenges, and at the end of the day, that's fine. But if your actual goal is to have a successful dropshipping store, then at some point you have to get off that tit and just start actually doing the hard stuff. It's not going to be, there's never going to be a point where it's going to feel perfectly amazing the whole process. There's going to be ups,
Yeah.
there's going to be downs.
Then there are people like that, right? That are like self-help junkies, like
Oh,
they
100%.
just keep going and like they never do anything.
Yeah, because that's how they get the dopamine hit, right? And a lot of these people are probably successful like in their jobs and they can afford to go to all these events and sort of get that high of like, yeah, I'm going to be able to create this and do this, but they don't have that primal spark of necessity to actually get them to where they need to be. Like all
Yeah.
this stuff is great and it works and it's good, but I think in the end what we found is that if you don't have some sort of serious need, at least one that you make up in your head, because that's all the difference, then you're not actually going to be able to push over those humps.
Yes. And I think, again, that's another perfect segue into what I want to talk about next, which is I prefer, and I think this is the only way, not must not be the only way, but I much prefer to be fueled by negative feelings because I remember when I quit my job, like when I was going into my job every day back in like 2014, 2015, I would wake up every day and say like, "Oh my god, I can't do this anymore." Every day was the same thing, and I had my good friend Derek that I used to work with, and we would like hang out at work and like, we would like talk about how much every day I would say the same thing to him. I gotta quit. I gotta quit this job. I can't do this anymore. Every day I would say that to him. So that like doing that was like the main thing that I wanted to do. And I think a lot of people they might not have that negative drive. It's like, yeah, I'm at my job. It's all right. Yeah, it would be nice to have a business, but I'm not going to do all this work for it. Maybe they're not doing that they're not having that narrative with themselves, but that's what's going on. It's just like they don't really want it bad enough. And I think steering yourself away from negative things is much more, much like it helps you more in the long term than that short term dopamine hit you can get from a self help guru. And I don't know if you can manufacture the negative thing. Like, I don't know if you can make it up. Like,
I think you can. I think you. I'm of the belief that you can manufacture any sort of belief in your head, just if you frame it right. And I think that's why like writing things down every day. If you write down like your goals every day and like your motivation why every day, that will actually help because if you're doing that thing every single day, you're gonna start believing it in your head.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
I could see that, but I still think it's a hard thing to. You have to be you have to be motivated to the point where you're going to even start doing that.
100%. And so, I mean, there's if you're not motivated enough to do that, then yeah, like you're screwed. But the motivation to write something down is doesn't take much. You can do it. It's not going to cost you much of your dopamine, right? And so, if you continue to do that every single day, I think that is actually a big part of creating this momentum that's needed to actually create like an actual, how do I phrase this? an actual belief in your mind, right? Because if you say, "Oh, I need to quit my job," and you say it once, then it's not really, your mind's not going to take it seriously. Like your subconscious isn't going to take it seriously. It's not going to be something that's in your brain all the time, and you need to actually act on it. But if you're writing it down every day and you're like pushing yourself to integrate that as part of your belief system, then eventually it will become that.
Yeah, yeah, I could see that. I mean, it's not that I don't believe you. I just know that, like, for me, like, I know, like, that pops up organically. Like I'm gonna, like, I want to quit my job. I can't do this anymore. Like, or even today, it's like I'll look at, like, even for a simple thing like outsourcing. Like, I'll get so, and I am motivated by getting so fed up with something that I have to get rid of it. And I know, like, I keep telling myself, like, if you don't do this thing, you're gonna have to keep doing this, and you hate doing this. So hurry up
Mm-hmm.
and finish, and, like, get this off your plate so that you're done and that you can move on to something else. That's
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, if that happens organically, then yeah, that's better because it's like you don't need to write it down for a month in order to actually get to it, you know?
Yeah, and once I heard
But
this, I don't know how true this is, but apparently in the Microsoft heyday, I don't know if it was Steve Jobs or Bill Gates or whatever, but one of them said
Bill
that
Gates
they,
is Microsoft.
yeah, I'm whatever Microsoft. I don't know which one. Like, like, back in the day, one of them said this, that they prefer to hire lazy people because lazy people will basically
Yes.
find a solution rather than just doing the same thing over and over again. I think that's a big. I feel like laziness can be a huge motivator in a way, as backwards as that seems.
Yeah, right. Because it's a combination of you're too lazy to waste your time, but you're motivated enough to get the job done that you're going to figure out the least energy requiring solution.
Yeah.
But do you feel like you're lazy?
Uh, I mean, kinda. Like, I don't know. Like, I definitely have to overcome being lazy. Like, every day, it's a. I don't want to say it's a struggle, but it's like it's something I have to be thoughtful of every day.
To not be lazy and to do stuff?
Yeah, definitely. Like I wake up like, oh man, I don't want to do anything, but I know I have to. I know but then I think, oh, like, but if I don't do anything, then this is gonna happen, and I'm not gonna have this or like this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. For me, I feel like I've just created so much stuff that I have to do now that I don't even have time to think about being lazy because I know I have to do all this stuff.
Well, that's what it is. I know
That
that yeah, there is so much stuff to do that if I have to tell myself that if you are lazy, even though, like, you want to be lazy, like, if you are, then it's just gonna keep building up, and then it's gonna be even more of a
yeah.
problem. So that's what I mean. It's like I have to I have to have that narrative.
Yeah. Because at times productivity is like a tricky thing because the times I felt most productive in dropshipping was when I was probably way less productive than I am now, even though I spend so little time on dropshipping. Because I'll tell you the height of productivity, the feeling of productivity for me would be I wake up in the morning, it's around 2017, 2018. I'm having a cup of coffee. I'm going through all the store's emails. I'm putting in trackings. I'm answering emails. I'm placing POs. I'm doing all this stuff, and it feels great because I feel like I'm knocking things off. I'm knocking things off. I'm knocking things off. But at the end of the day, what did I actually do?
Yeah, no, no. I mean, you did things that aren't gonna grow the business. You just did some things to make you some money in the moment.
Yeah,
Which, yes, of course. I mean, that's something that we talk about a lot, but it can't be reiterated enough that being truly productive in your business and feeling productive are two completely different things. Like, we have so much right now being done on our behalf
hmm,
that, compared to, like, what we would be doing 2 years ago, even though we'd probably be working so much harder, we would be doing so much less. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and it kind of goes back to the idea of like working hard and how they say, I don't know, people will say like, "Oh, you must work so hard. Oh, you must work so hard." And the difference is, I feel like there are people that 100% work way harder than us. Like our accountant. Our accountant is probably working his ass off right now. He sleeps minimal hours a week, but at the end of the day, I feel like it's not working more is not going to get you to a higher dollar per hour. It's not what is it, effective hourly rate.
Right. Definitely.
Now, kind of I wouldn't call it laziness, but it's kind of like in jiu-jitsu, right? If you know all the moves and you don't really need to waste a lot of energy, but then when the time comes, you can apply that energy and have it be just 100 times more impactful than if you didn't know what you were doing. So when you start out, you have to do everything. You have to learn all the skills of the business in order to figure out what the most impactful ones are. And now it's like we kind of sit back and only give ourselves tasks that are just super important and super efficient.
Yeah.
Right. So it's kind of like the executive chef at the end. He's not in the kitchen chopping up all the things and frying and doing this stuff. He just gets it, takes the plate, does a little wipes the thing, drizzles the thing, throws the parsley, and boom, it's out the door. Because he's also created the recipes. Yeah. But he's not working harder at that moment than anybody else, but it's about taking that hard work and building off of it, not just working hard every single day with no return on your action.
Absolutely. And you lost me in that visual depiction that I forgot what I was going to say.
But to go take it back to the guru thing, the guru can only get you in the mindset to work hard. Yeah. But you need to take that and put it into the proper avenues. You need to work hard where it's important to work hard. I'm not going to go to a Tony Robbins Date with Destiny and then come back and answer emails.
Yeah, because that's exactly so. That's interesting, and I want to just remember that. Let me write that down on my hand because I want to talk about that. But I had another point that I wanted to bring up. Answering emails, Date with Destiny. Date with Destiny. Okay, we were talking about all the things that we have done on our behalf now. So I thought for the audience it would be really interesting to talk about a few of those things and like list them out, that all of the things that are being done for us while we're streaming, because I feel like that could be like actually pretty good insight.
Yeah.
So I'll just name a few things. I'll just name a few things off the top of my head, and these are things that maybe they're not being done at this very moment, but they're being done like right now in the background. We don't have to think about them. They're going to get done. So one is we have backlinks being built to our dropshipping stores and a few of our blogs. We have articles being written for our dropshipping stores and our blogs. We have someone that's going to edit this podcast. We had someone make us the thumbnail of this podcast this morning. We have people answering the phones on our stores. We have people manning the live chats of our stores. We have people picking up the phone for our land calls. We have realtors working to sell our land properties. I'm out of one. Yeah, can you think of any? I'm out for now.
I mean, I think that covers it. People writing our books, people editing our books.
For Kindle.
Amazon selling and handling the customer service of the books.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, you already listed a lot of things.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so it's kind of, and on top of that, Joe, we have people certain times that are learning things for us.
Yeah, we just finished. We had someone, basically So when it comes to learning a new system or software now, um, basically what I do is I have someone. I tell them, hey, go figure out the basic, like how to use it and like kind of everything that it could do, and then I basically tell them to build the best version of what they can build for what I want, and then they explain to me what they've done. We go over a few iterations. Usually they can't get it down because like exactly what we want because they don't know exactly what we want. Probably because we're terrible at explaining it, and we don't know. The truth is, it's not like we don't know exactly what we want or what we can do until we see the software or whatever in action. So that's probably the biggest thing. So yeah, that's what we do now, and that's recently what we're doing with Airtable, which is a land thing. We basically had one of our VAs go and work out all the kinks of the software, explain to us basically how to use it, and then it's like, all right, we'll take it from here.
Yeah, or even with our new web class, we kind of had the same thing. Like we learned how to do the new email software. We learned how to operate in the new program for the web class, and we just had someone kind of do it first. That way we can, we can look at it and we can say, okay, like how would we implement this? And then it's almost like, I don't know. If you have like a CEO doing something for developing an app, they're not starting from ground zero. They're having kind of a big picture made, and they can go and they're tailoring it down until it's what their vision is. They can't be in it constantly trying to figure everything out. And that's what we used to do, Joe. Like that's what we used to. That'd be a big part of what you did, is just getting in the weeds and trying to figure things out. And now we're trying to get you less in the weeds.
Yeah, get away even from that, because it is a big difference when you start from something semi already created to starting from ground zero. Because ground zero is where, interestingly, I feel like ground zero is where all the energy sap comes from. And I think one of the things you realize that like one of the big things about self-help gurus is they're getting your energy up. They're getting your energy up to go do things. But one of the things that they might not tell you is that no matter when your energy's up, it's going to come down. So managing your mental energy in online business and with drop shipping or whatever is really, really important. I can't stress that enough, because I know that, hey, right now I'm doing some deep work. I've been doing it for the past hour or two. I know that it's going to come down, like, because things in real life are going to get in the way, or anything could happen to where you're not going to be as energetic or as motivated to do things as you were before. And avoiding as many steps as you can avoid, the better.
Yeah, because that initial process of what you just described, kind of like getting things started, it does take the most energy because it's the hardest part, 100% of business. We talk about going from 0 to 1. You have the whole what was the Fibonacci sequence, right? You go from 0 to 1. I don't even know how you do that. That's one of the mysteries of life, right? But then you go 1 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 5, 5 to 8, 8 to 13. And you're creating this momentum, you're creating this snowball. And now that once you're at a bigger scale, you have to just put in such little energy to make a change. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does make sense. One thing I will mention, and I've felt this more lately because, like I said, we have so many things going on our behalf. Much like a big corporation, you do have a lot of momentum, but the momentum is in one direction. And the more you have going on your behalf, it takes a little bit longer to change direction, if you know what I'm saying. Like,
yeah.
Like before, like if we were like listing products or something for our dropshipping store, like we could say, like we're listing a bunch of things. We could say, all right, screw this supplier. Like we're going to move on to the next one. Or something. And like we can immediately go into the emails, pull up the price list, look at it. We know what we have to do. But now it's like, it's a bit to change. So once we have our VAs getting going with something, to have them stop and, tell them exactly where everything is. It just takes a while to shift directions.
Yeah, it is like a literal large living being
Yeah.
in that it's powerful. You can do a lot, but it can't turn on a dime as easily as just a one man show can do what you said, Joe. And that's really why dropshipping is great, because that's how you if you're just a one person or small team, then you are much quicker than say someone that's moving at a bigger scale. And with that quickness, you can actually have some benefit because you don't with dropshipping, there's no overhead in terms of the inventory. Obviously, all you have to do is just make a sale, and you'll make a few $100. You make $1,000.
Yeah.
So when you're at a small scale, $1,000 is quite nice. So yeah, you can sort of pick up on these scraps. You're like the little fish that feed off of the they ride behind the shark.
You mean do they don't they like stay on the shark?
Yeah, they're like, yeah, you know what I'm saying, Joe. Don't
Kind of.
pick my analogy.
I don't know that much about the ocean.
Did you watch that movie, The Octopus Teacher?
No, I know they're smart though. I know they can like open jars.
Yeah, you should watch it.
Maybe I will. But
movie.
on this topic, Mike, actually, there's a quote from Barack Obama which I thought was pretty good. Someone was interviewing him or whatever, and they kind of asked him like, "You had all these big ambitions, like you wanted to get like single payer healthcare for the country, and you wanted to do all this stuff," and he was like, being the president is like steering a big ship liner. You can only turn the ship liner maybe a few degrees left, a few degrees right. But in the long run, a few degrees in any direction makes a big difference. But you get the point of what I'm saying is that when you have an entity that's as large as the like the government, like the U.S. government, it's at a pretty big scale. Like you can't go in. Like, I mean, you'd have to be pretty like just to change all the institutions around it, all the agencies. Like it would be impossible to do that like in a short time frame. But if you
if you're Wayfair and they're managing millions and millions of products through their paid advertising channels, they're not gonna be like, oh, Joe Schmo's bar carts is taking up our position for this one keyword. Let's get in there and outbid him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas you can do that to Wayfair. You can do that to Home Depot pretty easily.
Yeah.
Maybe you only have a couple thousand products, and you're like a little jet ski.
Yeah, and like Wayfair's not going to care that that you and your team are willing to put in the time to really serve the customer for one of the products and answer their emails individually and do all this stuff that someone if you go to Wayfair or Amazon, like it was crazy, like for some things on Amazon, like if you get sent like something you can't return, like and you go to return it, it'll just say you can't return it. And like in order to return it, you have to like go through this whole process, like open up a ticket, and like if like they sent you the wrong thing or something.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, if you're a smaller store, like you have the ability to serve customers on that small level.
Yeah, and it's something that is not even being noticed by these big companies because they're just so huge. Their consumption, their intake is just so large. They were just for feeding off the scraps. Again, but a scrap to one family can feed them for a lifetime.
Yeah.
It's honestly really crazy to think about it when you have these huge mega corporations and like they operate just super slow, and in some capacity it's a good thing for small businesses because that's just the advantage of having a small business is that you can cater to the customer in a much better way. You can pivot in a much better way, and so that's why you can't get yourself into an unpivotable business as a small business.
Yeah.
If you're a large business, you can you can create the tides. You can decide what's going to happen. You can create influence. But if you're smaller, you're really not having much influence. So you better have everything on point so that you can make the most out of what you're doing. If one product doesn't work, then you need to switch to another product. You can't open up a physical store that's Joe's kitchen tables, and then all of a sudden people don't want to shop in person and they don't want to shop for kitchen tables. Now what are you going to do?
Then all you got to do is open up a. Well, I don't know what you mean by that, but assuming
I'm saying if it puts you in a bad position because you can't pivot quickly.
Oh yeah.
If you could close down, get rid of your inventory, change the name on the business to Joe's Vacuum Cleaners.
Yeah.
Wait to get inventory in on that. But that's, if you were literally to do that, that would be a many, many month process versus just having an online business that you can call suppliers and in 2 days you've doubled your product line.
Yeah. And that's why actually I listen to Dave Ramsey a lot, and he has like this guy, like they have sometimes on their panel where they have like small business experts, and one of the guys, Chris Hogan, he's basically like, you want to start a business, you better have a business plan. I want to know all the competition in the area. I want to know all these things. But like when it comes to, and I could see that if you're going to open up,
it drives me nuts.
Yeah, you do not need a business plan. Like for online business, I can understand if you're in a local market and you really want to know what the local competition is and how much you could potentially take away and all that kind of stuff, and like how much local advertising you need to do. But the world of online is so vast, like making a business plan is just going to waste your time. You have to focus on just starting, learning the appropriate skills, because the skills is what's going to take you the longest time. But I feel like, where are we going with that? I feel like we're not focusing on the self-help gurus.
Well, again, you can't go to Date with Destiny and then go home and make a business plan.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the whole point.
That's true.
Right, because we're talking about how to actually be doing things that create a lot of momentum and create huge impacts in your business. And so your mindset and, how amped up you can get is very important, in my opinion. Like, I'm sure you have days where you feel off and your productivity slows down, or like, if I don't feel good today, like I'm like sick or something, then yeah, I'm not going to do my best work possible. And on the same note, I'm not going to have the best thoughts possible that are going to steer everything I'm doing in a positive direction. Because maybe you'd agree, if I'm in a bad mood, I'm going to have less ambitious thoughts. I'm going to be less optimistic about where our businesses are at. And so if I'm making decisions based off that, then it's not going to be impactful. And on the other hand, if I'm in a super good mood, I'm amped, the dopamine's flowing, the serotonin's flowing, then I'm going to have these more expanded thoughts, and I'm going to be more receptive to just acting on them and trying to push towards those.
Yeah.
Versus,
one of the things that you're talking about, which Tony Robbins, he puts this into one word basically, is priming, where he says he wakes up, he like plunges in the cold water, and then he gets he does all this stuff, like basically exactly what you said, just trying to get the good feelings, get the good juices rolling before you do anything important, like when you like just getting yourself ready to do your most important stuff. And that is actually something I think that cannot be understated. And I remember, like, I think if I would have known this earlier, my life might have turned out a little bit different. So, like, I don't know if you remember this, but when we were younger, like, we would do, like, P90X in the basement.
Huh.
And I remember one time I said to you, I was like, because I was really into, like, StarCraft 2, and I, like, wanted to, like, be, like, a pro at it. And I remember I kind of was like explaining how if I do P90X like early in the morning, like first thing, like I play so much better that day and it's like a great day. But I told you, like, I can't do it. Like I just can't. I would tell myself I'm gonna do it the next day. Like I'm gonna wake up and do it, because sometimes I would put it off till like 5 p.m. and then do it at 5 p.m. But if I would do it in the morning, like I would have so much of a better like performance that day. But obviously, I didn't realize what was going on at the time. I don't know if you remember this, but it was
I
something
know.
that
I
happened.
mean, I remember P90X obviously, but I don't remember you telling me that.
Yeah.
But so you didn't make the connection at the time
Whoa,
that
whoa, 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 whoa! Hold on a second. Hold on a second. No, I didn't make the connection at the time that that's what was happening. I just do you see that last chat that we got? Is that guy is that guy trolling us?
I think he is. Nah. Explain yourself, Mark.
Yeah, so Mark basically says like, also, do you know Ezra Firestone? I met him and he told me to stop drop shipping and build a brand. If you're not trolling, that's pretty funny because he told us the exact same thing and we have a whole episode on that.
Yeah, it's literally called Ezra Firestone told us to stop dropshipping. So might want to check that out, Mark.
Man.
I mean, I still think about that conversation.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm giving him too much credit for that, because I mean, if you're someone that is dedicated to teaching people how to build a brand, which he kind of is, I mean, what do you expect him to say, right? But I think there's obviously a time and place for building a brand, and we talk about that in the video. But I do think about how he said that.
Mark says he's not trolling and he's serious. Well, when did he tell you that, Mark? That's pretty interesting. I mean, look, I think there's no doubt that he's very good at what he does. Like he's very. I mean, the brands he built are, obviously very successful for him. There's nothing wrong with that. But I still do think like what you have to remember about Ezra is that before he was doing, the brands he's doing, he was drop shipping. I mean, he wasn't doing it like the way we teach it. I would argue he's doing it kind of poorly. Like he was dropshipping like Halloween wigs and stuff. But he has online business experience that like spans back even like far before we started. So he has all that to draw off of for building his brand. And it's totally different than if you're just going from zero, you have no online business experience at all, and you're going to go build a brand. It's like dropshipping, the way we teach it is like the perfect stepping stone before you even realize like I just don't see how you can go from zero to brand. I just don't see it.
100% zero chance.
Yeah.
I mean, Joe, we met people there at that conference that we went to that were, they were trying to do that. And looking back on that now, I bet that a very small percentage of them succeeded because it's too much of a task to ask of somebody to have no online marketing experience, to handle the product creation that has to be on point. They have to invest in getting the product in. They have to invest in doing the marketing to generate demand for a product that no one knows exists. And then you have to be constantly recycling inventory and building off of that and learning every single thing about the business. There's Absolutely. Too many variables for people to learn.
Yeah. One of the guys we met at the conference that we went to where we met Ezra Firestone, he had these things where it's like you sniff them and it had like essential oils in it. So it'd be like peppermint, and it was like a peppermint plastic stick, and you would sniff it like it looked like a chapstick or something. And you would sniff it and be like, oh yeah, I got like a jolt from that. And I was like, wow, this is cool. And he's like, yeah, we're selling it to something, something, something. And I don't know where his product is now, but either way, I still see like generic versions of that product nowadays, like in CVS and like Walgreens. I saw like one on the street, like walking the other day, like there was just not his product, but like a generic version of it. So obviously like there's threats at every level when you're creating your own brand. Like when you're trying to create demand and then you do create demand, what's to stop you from like a big corporation like Walgreens coming in and just saying, oh, I'm going to make this myself. And you can just order it online from Walgreens for $1.99 or on Amazon Basics. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what you said about product creation is like, how are you going to master all these things? And you've never even done an online ad before.
Exactly. Whereas with dropshipping, high ticket, it's just so clean in that all you got to do is make the website, get the suppliers listed, and run the ads. And you can actually start. That's when you can begin learning about how this all works and how to actually get good at it. But at least you're getting a running start. You're taking advantage of all the other systems that have been put in place for you, such as Shopify, such as these suppliers that have already done half of all your work, probably more than half, because they're going to handle the creation, they're going to handle the shipping, they can handle answering questions, they're handling the liability, more or less. So, yeah, it's just the advice. If Ezra Firestone asked Ezra Firestone if he should stop dropshipping and build a brand, then the answer is probably yes, because he learned everything there is to learn first. He had many sites. He was selling all these things. He already had mastered e-commerce beforehand.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're dropshipping, you're doing, a couple $100,000 a month in revenue, then maybe you can go build a brand if you want to do that, because you actually have some semblance of an idea as to what to do. But that's the whole point of this video. You can't just go read a self-help book, get in the right mindset, and then go and build a brand. Go build the e-commerce brand.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's going to take you years and years and years, and it's going to be ups and downs, and you may lose a lot of money. You may wind up just leveraged way too much to get all these products in.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. I was going to say that when you do a dropshipping store the way we teach also, you have a brand. It's called you're a retailer. And if you want to private label something, you can private label it. And you already know what sells. You already know what's good or bad in that industry. Or if you don't want to do that, you don't have to do that. It depends on what you want to stick to. Because here's what it comes down to. You have people that, when it comes to online business, like, you have people like I haven't talked to him in a while, but like my friend Shane, like his whole thing is just SEO, SEO, SEO. That's all he cares about. Like he just cares on making sites and ranking them. And he doesn't and there's nothing wrong with that at all. The first thing he started with was building a brand. And he's like, no, like I don't want to manage the inventory. I don't want to do all this stuff. I know how to do SEO. So why not just focus on this one thing and let my affiliates or the ad companies or anything like that do all the rest of the work? Let me just focus on what I'm good at.
Yeah.
I want to try something, Mike. I don't know if this is going to work, but so I have a Google Voice here. I'm interested if we could take some calls and I could hold it up to the microphone. So I'm just going to throw it out there. What's that?
I said if you want.
I don't know. I'm afraid, actually. Maybe we shouldn't do it.
We could save it for another episode.
Yeah, probably got to like plan it a bit. Probably got to plan it a bit before. I could probably do it with like a Skype number. That might be easy.
Yeah. I don't know what's possible on the Streamlabs, but if you want to get that talk radio, your caller number 5, you're now.
Yeah.
You're now online.
I think that would be a lot of fun.
I know. Take it back to the AM radio days.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we do some stuff on Clubhouse too. That would be kind of like that, because it's like people are listening to you and then you can kind of call them up to say shit.
Yeah.
And then you can kick them off. Sorry, yeah. I keep cursing. I'm not used to this. We didn't get demonetized, Joe?
I think we'll be all right. It's your light swearing.
Our monetization.
I mean,
light swearing.
I care more about our distribution than our monetization. Like, excuse me. It's
very corporate of you to say.
I just burped on stream. It's so gross. It's so gross. How could you burp on your stream?
Yes, this is the part where the live stream starts descending into chaos. So let's start looking at some.
But this is when the viewership peaks.
I know.
All right, let's take a look at some of the comments. Aaron Jerez. I want to read it in a different voice. I ran campaigns for my store and had so many broad keywords on my campaign. Now, I'm focused on getting products with more brand loyalty. Is that a good approach? Finding brands with high search volume?
Uh, well, I think there's a number of things wrong with that statement because there's a way to control your broad keywords, and brand loyalty is good, but what about competition? So there's other variables in the approach that you're suggesting. So while yes, it is a good idea, it's there may be some caveats, and you may not be considering all of the variables.
All right. So hit that bid says, I don't know another voice I could do. I'd imagine it's a trade-off between trying to make $1 billion company and creating a brand or creating more of a lifestyle business with drop shipping.
Yeah, I think you can. Well, no one's making $1 billion company by building their little stupid product business selling chapstick or whatever.
Can Ezra? Will he be $1 billion? I don't know.
What does he do in revenue? Like 50 million a year?
I don't know.
Even if he does 100 million a year, like what?
Hey, you got to think like Wayfair.
I don't know if that's getting him to $1 billion.
Yeah, you got to think like Wayfair. What's their? I could be totally off, but I think like their valuation was like 15 billion. Am I really wrong? I don't know, but you got to think like his revenue is not close to Wayfair.
Yeah, so but I think the point is that you could have the lifestyle business doing either or. It's not that the components of building a physical products brand aren't outsourceable, because they are. Obviously, you can have someone in the people warehousing, handling stuff, like even a 3PL, third party fulfillment. And you have a customer service team, you have all these things that can run themselves. So you can create a lifestyle business with that, but you're just not going to get to that point. It's unlikely that you're going to be getting anywhere close to financial, I don't want to say the FF phrase, because apparently it's an indication of spam.
Really?
According to our email autoresponder, yeah. So I think if I say it here, it will get us shadow banned.
All right, don't say it. We'll just say FF.
Yes. So yeah, the whole point is that you're very unlikely to get there if you are responsible for all the components of building your own physical e-commerce brand. And lastly, on that point, FBA is kind of the shortcut to that, but you are inviting so much risk into the situation by creating, first of all, you're probably creating a product that has been thought of before. It's going to get copied by probably the same people that are manufacturing it to you. You're dependent on Amazon for the ranks. You're dependent on Amazon for making sure everything is checked in, fulfilling it, all that. That it can just go bad. One minute you're living the dream, the next minute you gotta be on the phone with Amazon for 10 hours trying to figure out where your mouthwash is. Mm-hmm. And at the same time you've been you lost your buy box because your manufacturer in Indonesia screwed you over. Now they're outpricing you. Now it's a race to the bottom. Now all your profit is gone for the month. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Mark Walsh says earlier, I'll do a different accent, I can't stand some of those clown self-help gurus like Dan Lok making videos in the back of his Bentley.
I didn't know Dan Lok was self-help. I thought he was just like sales.
Well, it definitely crosses into the self-help threshold. Definitely. He has a video where he's like doing Wing Chun and stuff. Like he's like.
I haven't seen any Dan Lok video.
Okay.
In my life.
I've seen a couple. I mean, all right. Take this with a real grain of salt, because I've watched maybe like 3 Dan Lok videos, and like they weren't that terrible. Like like there was one where he was driving in the back of his Bentley, and someone like he was reading a question, and the question was like, "So Dan, what should I do if I like have no money and I want to start a business?" And he's like this was like a 2-minute video, and Dan's like, I don't know if I could do an accent without being.
I would say avoid that.
Without being problematic. But basically, he said, "Get an effing job." And I was like, all right, like he's not telling like that's what you should do.
Yeah.
Like, all right, he's not telling him go become a super salesman. He told him go get a job. And I would tell someone the same thing.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we should do an episode where we like kind of watch Dan Loke videos.
We should.
I don't know how that would be, how that would work, like copyright.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I haven't quite mastered the like the thing, like the how to stream and like watch the video and show it to you at the same time. Like I have to figure that out logistically, but yeah, that could be a good thing.
I think that'd be fun. Yeah. So I think a lot of times too, like I don't believe Dan Loke is as wealthy as he is by taking advantage of people.
Somehow here. All right. I mean, this is where it gets tricky because there are certain tactics that gurus use that are definitely 150% taking advantage of people. And one of the things that I could say with relatively high confidence in many instances is any sort of thing that has automation, like claims to be like automation, like full automation from the start, like Amazon automation.
Yeah.
Like I've heard so many horror stories about that kind of thing that I am extremely skeptical about that kind of stuff. Same with like YouTube automation. Like, yeah, that kind of thing is like, I don't know. I'm not buying that kind of thing, but I don't know. Here's the thing with someone like Dan Loke, and again, I don't know because I haven't watched many of his videos. Like, I don't think he's teaching you. Maybe he's teaching you some sales skills, but like, if you want to succeed online, like it's a lot more to it than that. Like, you should learn. Like, I would say you have to have at least one technical skill that you're good at, like ads, SEO, even YouTube, like search or you know, some sort of social media platform that you've mastered.
Well, so how would you compare Dan Loke's advice to, say, Russell Brunson's?
Well, at least Russell Brunson teaches. I don't know how much Dan Loke teaches you in terms of like the stuff like this, but like Russell Brunson is like trying to sell his software a lot, ClickFunnels, so he's teaching you the software as well. And I feel like if you learn how to use the software, like that's important. Like you walk away with a skill set. I don't like any sort of online guru specifically where you're not walking away with a real like technical skill set. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I do think there is a place for being really good at sales.
There is, but
the problem is, if you're really good at sales and nothing else, then you have nothing to offer people except for how to teach them to be good at sales. Exactly. And now you get in this, this ridiculous cycle, right? Yeah. So yeah, I think being really good at sales, like there has to be something else of value.
Yeah.
To be able to provide, and so, but I think there are people that can, like, that's all they need is the sales piece. They already have something that they can implement it on. But when you use that idea of just raw sales to try and get people like involved and buy your stuff who have nothing to offer, then that's kind of those people are very, very unlikely to succeed.
Yeah, and I don't think the sales skill set is a bad skill set to have, but like you need to be able to apply it to something, like you said. And I think that some of our most successful students have backgrounds in sales, and then we just told them, hey, apply it to this. And then they're most successful because they got no problem picking up the phone, calling suppliers, even in the beginning, talking to customers, things like that. Like, it just comes naturally to them because they're good at sales. But if we didn't tell them what to apply it to, like, they would just be spinning their wheels.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, can you get mad at someone for selling something that isn't like a complete package tailored to the individual that doesn't have a business yet? I don't know.
Yeah. Sag says, Brunson tries too hard, not real. I don't know. I mean, he definitely does seem like he's trying very hard, but I don't want to say he's not real. Like, I think that could legitimately just be his persona.
Yeah. And also, we were talking about before how like you have to sort of when you're at a higher level in terms of you have a lot going on and you're making big decisions and you're doing a lot of big things, you have to sort of paint with broader strokes.
Yeah.
So Russell Brunson is not gonna he is on track to have $1 billion company for sure. But he's not gonna get there by being like us. Us being here and talking candidly and doing all this stupid stuff that we do.
Yeah.
So because the fact of the matter is that when you are as like energetic as like he knows how to talk to people. He knows how to actually captivate people way better than we do. It just so happens we captivate people through like we just create our own little niche because we're just being ourselves.
Yeah.
But he's so good at being energetic and talking in a good way that he can actually capture just a wide net of people and sell them. So yeah, like I can't fault him for that.
Yeah.
Because I do think he legitimately knows his stuff, and I don't. Yeah, I mean he's acting more energetic on purpose, but it's not like doesn't come off as too incongruent with how he actually feels.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's super into wrestling, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
I think he does jiu-jitsu also. Muhammad has a question. One thing I want to say is, and I feel like I'm realizing this like now more so than when I was younger. Like when I was younger, like it would be really easy for me to say like, oh, like especially to like someone in power or something. I'd be like, oh, this person is, screw this person. They're just like doing all these bad things and blah, 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 blah. But I think actually doing this has made me think a lot like it's really easy just to like criticize someone than to like put yourself in their shoes. And I always bring this up on the show, and I hate coming back to this because one of these examples is like Bill Gates. Like if I click on a Bill Gates video and I go to like the YouTube comments section, it's all like Bill Gates is trying to like microchip everyone and like take over the world and things like that. And it's really easy to type that into a YouTube comment section. But I also think it's important, and maybe like I don't know what he's doing. I don't know him personally, like what his intentions are. But I also like to think of myself like I like to put myself in like his shoes for a second and think like, okay, if I was this billionaire and I legitimately wanted to make the world like a better place, like what are the things that I would be doing? Like what are the things that I would be talking about? What are the things that I would be focusing on? Like I would be painting with these broad strokes and brushes and things like that. So the point is, it's really important. It's really easy to like criticize anyone, but it's hard to know like sometimes exactly where they're coming from.
Yeah, I don't want to go down too much of that rabbit hole.
No, I don't. I don't either. But I just like say like
Elon Musk.
There's always the possibility of you don't know like what the real deal is.
Because you can't understand people's you don't know people's real intentions or their thoughts, especially when they're at that level, like top 100 people in the 100 most influential people in the world.
Yeah, you have,
and how the way that they need to move and make decisions and like think about their impact. It's impossible for us to actually come in and make a judgment, but that's happening at all levels, right? It's happening. Again, you're doing stuff. You're answering your own store emails. That's one level. Now you're just managing the store. Now you're managing a whole portfolio. Now you're managing a private equity company. Now you're managing a mega corporation. Now you're managing a country. So like you can't. Yeah, it's just hard to emphasize because you can't make everyone happy, right? You can't always be doing things in a way to.
Yeah, no, and coming back to the Russell Brunson example, like when you're
George Soros, thank you, Mr. Vaughn.
When you're speaking to that many people, like as Russell Brunson is, it's like you have to take a certain. Yeah, like you can't do it. I mean, you can, but I don't know. Like I feel like it also as much as like the position you're in also probably shapes you as much as you shape the position. Yeah. It's kind of a two-way street, I think.
Yeah.
Because I feel like being like the more we outsource, I feel like it actually, the more we go to a higher level in online business, it does shape me. And definitely like the things I view as like worth my time and stuff like that. And like, it definitely does change my behavior.
Yeah. So to wrap up that point, now I just completely lost it and I'm pissed.
Well, we have to answer Muhammad's question.
Yeah. I'll come back to the point if I get to it. Yes, Muhammad, sorry. Is it a good thing if a product has a high CPC? Can you relate a high CPC with a purchase intended customer? The only thing that you can relate with high CPC is that other people want to bid high on it. So breaking that down, and I remember my point. Breaking that down, that just means either there's a lot of margin in the product, which is one thing, or there's a lot of people bidding on it, or yeah, someone really cares about selling it for whatever, someone cares about getting the traffic for whatever reason, right? So like, let me go back to your question so I can look at it. Where'd it go? Did he delete it? Oh, no. So, okay. Can you relate a high CPC with a purchase intended customer? Yes and no. Maybe someone is bidding high because they're getting a lot of purchases off that keyword, but they could just be trying to block other people out, right? Like if you try and get text ads, or if you try to run ads for health insurance, you try and run ads for car insurance, you try and run ads for any sort of doctor situation. Joe, did our video go out?
For a second. It's back now.
Okay. Those CPCs are going to be $50, $60, even more, because the return on that is very high. So ads is just an auction, right? This person says, yeah, I'll bid $1. This person says, I'll bid $1. The other person says, screw you, I'm bidding $2. Another guy comes in, $3. So yeah, it's just a variety of factors, and it comes down to, you need to always be making individual decisions for what you're bidding.
Do you think like behind the Google, like in the background of Google, there's like a guy going like, all right, we have Wayfair bidding on mattresses for $1, $1. Do I have another one?
Yeah.
Sealy, $2, going once, going twice. And now we have Purple coming in at $3 a bid until you're out of your budget.
That's how the algorithm thinks.
Yeah, until you're out of your budget, and then it starts again.
Yeah. Joe, out of budget. I'll go on a Wayfair. But so the point I wanted to make with all that was, a lot of times I've noticed, Joe, like we would do other courses and we would ask these course creators like questions. And so we wanted things answered a certain way based on where we were at. But the answer we would get would be coming from a person from where they're at. And sometimes it would be hard to link up.
Yeah.
It would be hard to make sense, or it wasn't a satisfying answer because they're answering us from this view. They're already successful. Yeah, stop dropshipping. Just build a brand.
Yeah.
So I think we do a good job of trying to like answer things at a lot of different levels. But yeah, like, I mean, we definitely go through that. As we grow, we probably are giving people answers that they don't fully resonate with because the position they're at, they want to hear something spelled out in a certain way based on the gaps that they need to fill in their mind. Yeah. And so like the more gaps you filled up, the harder it is to kind of answer it. So
Yeah, yeah. It's a tough one. It's I believe the term is the curse of knowledge.
Yeah.
All
That's
right.
why it's good to like learn with people or learn from people that are at a similar level to a certain extent. That's why like masterminds are good and stuff. Um,
They can be, but smaller ones. That's
yeah,
important.
small. Yeah, we're actually like all doing stuff and going through similar challenges. That way, you can give. You're very in sync. You can
Yeah, yeah, and that's
grow
something
together very quickly that way.
I do want to say that this is just like genuine advice for people that if you are going to get in, whether you're in our group or whatever, if you're going to get involved, if you want to have the most effective mastermind possible, besides for asking us questions directly, because that's going to be the most effective if you're in our group. But if you're not in our group, this might also be good advice. If you just find, maybe you're in like some random Facebook groups or whatever, if you just find like a few like people like in the Facebook group or in wherever that are at the same level as you're at, and make like a Skype group or make a different group to where you guys can all talk regularly. I think that's a really effective bootstrap way to get an effective mastermind going. I've learned a lot from stuff like that.
Agreed.
All right, we're going over time here. It's a beautiful day
Yeah,
out.
we're OT.
Thank God for daylight savings time, because I'll
Yes.
tell you what, on the level of like this the month of February, like talk about not being primed. Like February is such a always usually like a hard month for me because like it's not daylight savings yet. Like it's not like nice out, and I feel like I feel like generally unmotivated in every aspect. But once daylight savings light hits, I'm back.
Yeah. That's why you always gotta have a nice cup of coffee.
I actually only drink cold brew now.
What happened?
I'll tell you what happened. I ordered these beans from nuts.com, and I don't know what, like, they just don't taste good. Like, but I ordered like 10 pounds of them. So I'm like, I got to make use of these. So, but I don't like them. And so I was like, let me try it like cold brew and see if that helps. And it actually tastes so good when it's cold brew, but it tastes terrible when it's like brewed normally. So,
That's hilarious. Because yeah, last time you had cold brew, you were very adamant you were never gonna have it again, and that it was terrible. And now here we are.
well, that's from Starbucks. That was gross. I mean, that was good, but I had it at like 3 in the afternoon.
Yeah. Well, in any event, should we tell people where to learn more?
Yeah,
So
let's answer the rest of the questions real quick. I don't like leaving them unturned.
all of them?
No, we have
Oh
two.
God.
How often do you use
Okay.
custom URL intent audiences for your Google PPC? This is Yashu, by the way. Loving your live.
Thank you, Yashu. How often do we? Custom URL. There's custom intent audiences that you can do, but we don't get too much in the way of those except for like display ads or YouTube ads. But we do not very much of those. And if you look at our other videos, we talk a lot about just going after search intent. So I hope that answers your question. We don't get too much in the way of like targeting a specific audience based on their intent. We'd rather target someone based on what they're actually searching in real time.
Yeah. Victor Reyes, do you guys invest in stocks? I do, but only in index funds.
Yeah.
Cause,
Yeah.
cause
Same.
all right, I'm trying to build all these online businesses. When we're selling land and we're doing all like, for me to start investing in like individual stocks, like I feel like I have a big knowledge gap, and I'm not just gonna do that without it being like my main thing. And I have
Exactly.
no desire to do that anyway.
Yeah, that's how I feel. If I'm gonna actually do individual stuff, then I have to. It's a whole other thing to learn.
Yeah.
But yeah,
All right, Mike. Where can they see our free web class?
buildassetsonline.com/playbook. So if you've made it this far into this conversation, we've gone completely off the rails, and I thank you for being here. And so if you want to learn more without the distraction of us talking about cold brew and Ezra Firestone and all this stuff, and just learn how we literally build assets online, how we create our portfolio, and how you can create a $1 million portfolio, even if you're starting from zero. Buildassetsonline.com/playbook.
There you have it. All right, guys. We'll see you in the next episode.
Take it easy.